You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
KMVP FM Phoenix, live from the Casino Arizona and Talking Stick Resort Studio. Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
Allen to the right side, fades, and knocks down the three after missing his first three attempts from deep. Grayson Allen now leading the Suns with 9, and they go up 6, 49-43.
I wanted to give some love to Grayson. Shot well in the first half. Kind of knocked around a bit with some of the physical basketball that we saw tonight. Some of it warranted, some of it not so much. And one of the other things that stuck out for me in regards to Grayson was his ability to poke that basketball out of Naz Reid's hand and create an extra possession on the offensive end. Nice little move around where Allen pokes to Dunn, passes to Mark Williams, and it gets an extra 2 points. Stuff like that earns you the Hustle Award. So shouts to Grayson for that tonight. Suns get the win over the Wolves, 108-105 in Minneapolis. Mitch Vereld is now joined alongside by our lead Suns guru, Kellen Olson, here in the Casino Arizona and Talking Stick Resort Studios. What's up, buddy?
Hello.
This was a very fun. I kept using the phrase back and forth, even though there wasn't really a lot of back and forth at the score. But it felt like a very back and forth basketball game, and the Suns came out the victors.
They just controlled it. And I don't know what's going to have to happen to teams for them to realize that no matter who is or isn't playing for the Suns, that they're going to have to start to treat this like a playoff game, I guess, with how hard the Suns are playing. But Minnesota, coming off of the type of loss they had in Phoenix, just wasn't up for it. And we saw it in the first 18 minutes again for the third straight game, especially. Like the Lakers, not interested at all. The Rockets, okay, they bounced back a bit. This Timberwolves team did, but they weren't able to rattle the Suns in the way that the Rockets were. And I think that's like what the main thing I take away from this team or from this group and this game specifically is how confident they are. They are extremely confident in what they do, the brand of basketball that they play, and like little runs on the road, like the crazy Gobert save to Ant, the crowd's going crazy. Like they're not going to get rattled. And it's really surprising to see. I think you are going to see moments when it starts to break down, which we saw in the last couple of minutes of the game. And then we saw in Houston again, but for the most part, they're going to stick with it. And it was unbelievable to watch Minnesota after working so hard to kind of get back in the game and like regain their focus. At the start of the fourth quarter, they clearly let up again. And the Suns with 4 reserves in, which is down to like the back third of their roster, basically with the injuries that they're dealing with, immediate 7-0 run. And then finishing that timeout's got to be like, guys, what happened? Like you took an hour of real lifetime to get your focus back. And then once we get back to this little area of the game, you lose focus. And then what happened? Minnesota really turned it on late, but they missed a couple of threes because like that's the NBA. You can play like that and turn it on in like the second quarter. But if you do it again in the fourth quarter, you're begging to get screwed. And that's ultimately what happened to them. And I don't say this in any way to like disparage what the Suns are doing in their effort levels, but it's just really clear the teams are not coming into Suns games right now realizing how hard they're going to have to play, and it's a tremendous advantage every single night.
And I think eventually they will. And it's not like the Suns have been entirely immune from teams just not being prepared for how aggressive and how physical that they're going to play. Like they've lost to the Rockets twice. They've lost to the Thunder, and everybody loses to the Thunder. And they've got another one against Oklahoma City, one that has a little extra incentive attached to it. So I'm sure that the Thunder will at least be up for the challenge. But you think about the wins against the Lakers, the 2 wins against the Spurs, one with Wemby, one without, but also De'Aaron Fox was available. They're up for just about any task that is put ahead of them in spite of the lacking depth that they've had to start the season, because everybody just understands that we're going to go out there and we're going to try hard because it's what we got to do to win.
The reality of an NBA season is that teams not so much take off games, but they're not playing their absolute hardest every single game. It's just going to happen. And you'll remember when the Warriors won 73 games and it came up with Draymond again last week, but just the amount that it took for them physically and mentally to focus to that level of attention and just lock in every single night to get to 73 wins. That just speaks to how irregular it is to have that level of approach every single night, because the regular season is very long, it's very daunting, and you're inevitably going to run into hiccups. The Suns team has as well. But we continue to see it where it's like, okay, we're not playing Oklahoma City, we're not playing Houston, we're not playing Denver, we're not playing Golden State, we're not playing any of these hyper-talented West teams. We're playing the Suns, and their two best players are also out, so we can take it easy a little bit. And teams are just going to have to eventually pick up on that. Maybe they just never will, because I thought that like 10 games ago, the league would start to figure it out, especially, again, Minnesota, who has seen this up close and personal in an incredibly physical game. But they took their foot off the gas to begin the game, and it was enough for the Suns to win it.
I wonder if part of it, too, has to do with something that we talked about when they beat the Lakers and beat them pretty handily, is that some of these teams can just kind of get by their talent, right? Anthony Edwards had 40 points tonight. I think normally speaking, if the Wolves get a 40-point performance out of Ant, the expectation is that they're going to win. The problem is that they weren't getting a lot of output from the other guys in this group. And then things started to come to a head where Gobert gets ejected, and they're trying to now work with an even smaller rotation. And they've got some cool Bones Highland moments, but then he's causing turnovers on other possessions. There's not a lot of consistency from the rest of these groups, where, Luka Doncic goes for 38 the other night, but the rest of the cast, they didn't do much. So I wonder how many of them are just kind of okay with conceding this one. But, it's like procrastinating the big assignment that you get at the beginning of the year. If you get to the end of the year and you are looking back and you're like, wait, we lost to that team and we lost to them twice, it's going to bite them in the ass really, really hard.
Yeah, it will. And the Suns are going to continue to benefit from it. If you look at like who is the most talented player on the floor at the start of this game, Minnesota has like the first 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 guys. And it just doesn't matter. It's supposed to matter because this is the NBA and it always matters to that extent, but that's not what these Suns are. And individual guys just continue to step up. Collin was massive in the fourth quarter. Grayson did not shoot the ball well and might have been the best player on the floor when Ant had 41 points, because Grayson, I don't know what the metrics are going to say in terms of how many drives he had in the game, but he was just in the paint over and over and over and over and over again. And that is how the Suns had better offense in this game, despite, again, the on-ball talent of Randall and Edwards, and then the scoring of like DiVincenzo and Reed. Like it just didn't really matter in this game because the Suns were playing more collectively.
Dante DiVincenzo and Jaden McDaniels combined for 2 for 14. And those are two guys that they very much rely on to provide a little extra offense. As a result, Ant had to take, 9 more shots than the next highest shot taker. And even Naz Reid was 2 for 12. So there was a lot of discombobulation offense. And a big part of that was how the Suns were able to get in their faces defensively. Like, this is a very physical game. Minnesota's no slouch on the defensive end either, but the Suns were able to get the advantage in the physical side of things, I thought.
Yeah, their defense was fantastic. Like the connectivity, like the multiple efforts that they had to have, it was pretty fantastic, especially from like the second quarter on. But the way in which their offense continued to work was pretty impressive and quite frankly amazing, because that was why I was so low on this team, is because I just didn't think that they had enough individually on offense to create good looks. And it turns out if you've just got a system that everyone buys into and completely understands and realizes that it brings the best out of their games and it brings the best out of everyone's games, and this is what you get.
22 from Mark Williams, 19 from Gillespie, 18 from Brooks, 12 from Allen, 11 from Royce, and 10 for Iguodala. I mean, that's just gonna work on most nights. If you have the system in place, everything's gonna go well. All right, really quickly before I let you go, what do you expect for this Cup game on Wednesday? We expect both teams to bring it, but OKC's had a little bit more of an extended rest now with the couple of days off beforehand.
It's going to be tough because OKC, part of what makes them such an incredible team and the best team in the league by far is how hard they play most nights, and they are going to bring it, especially with money on the line, because this is the Cup group stages. Like each game sort of has money on the line, but you are directly basically winning money if you win a game in the quarters and then you win a game in the semis, then in the final itself. Like you're getting more money if you win. So that flat out honestly is going to have OKC even more motivated in this game. We'll see about Book. Ott said the other day that there's a chance that he could play on Wednesday. We saw Dylan Brooks, like they were cautious with him, very cautious with him in the fourth quarter. We'll see. I don't want to sit here and say OKC by 40 because, again, the Suns team has taught us that lesson before with any kind of game, including as OKC on the road, that they can play them very close. So a competitive game, but it's going to be very challenging.
And, of course, Oklahoma City's still bitter about losing to the Bucks in last year's final. That's clearly motivating them.
The cup just means more, man.
Just means more. Kel, as always, thanks so much.
Thanks,
Appreciate
man.
it. You can read the recap on ArizonaSports.com and the Arizona Sports app. Kel always does a great job covering this team for us. All right, so we teased it. That next game for the Phoenix Suns is going to be December 10th. That's this Wednesday. It is a 5:30 tip, so similar to the game that we had tonight. So 5:30 tonight was when we tipped off. We're going to tip off again at 5:30 on Wednesday. You got that, Lawrence? Okay, just making sure. I'm just teasing. 5:30. Coverage will start at 4:30 right here on Arizona Sports 98.7 and the Arizona Sports app. Suns and Thunder for the rights to go to Las Vegas. All right, a very quick scoreboard check before we send you home. Let's kick it with our song of the night. You knew it had to be done, right? Playing a game in Minneapolis and I was just going to not play Prince? Come on. Come on. Out of here. Went with 1999. I could have gone with so many. Honestly, so many. Could have picked way better songs than this one, if I'm being honest. But 1999 I chose just because I felt very nostalgic watching the Timberwolves in particular in their nice little Wolf logo jerseys with the pine trees going around the collars. Very nostalgic. And a uniform combo that was the main combo from 1996 to 2008, which falls into 1999. All right, I tried too much. Anyway, let's get through these. There's just 3 games that we have to cover. Pacers defeat the Kings in Indianapolis 116-105. Andrew Nembhard with 28 points and 12 assists. Phoenix Suns got the win 108-105 over the Wolves in Minnesota. And then the San Antonio Spurs, it got a lot closer towards the end because the Pelicans had a 45-point third quarter. But the Spurs pull off the win 135-132. How about Derek Queen? 33, 10, and 10 in the loss. That dude's awesome. Was he worth trading up a first-round pick for? Yes. Was it worth trading away an unprotected first next year? Absolutely not. And then checking in on Monday Night Football, we're almost at the 2-minute warning. Eagles leading the Chargers in Los Angeles 19-16. Tight one going down to the wire between a couple of 8-win teams. That's going to do it for Suns postgame. Thanks so much to Kellen Olson for his great coverage, as always. Thanks to Lawrence, Matt, and Dylan for their great work behind the scenes tonight. Thanks to those who called in and for listening. I'm Mitch Vareldis. I'll see you again on Wednesday night. Have a great rest of your night.
Arizona Sports, the local sports leader.
You've been listening to Phoenix Suns basketball.
We now join ESPN Radio, already in progress.
I get this whole thing about you play the championship game, you get beat, you shouldn't be penalized. If you lose, you lose.
Facts.
You drop down. Now, I understand Miami beat Notre Dame week 1. But what has Miami done? What's Notre Dame done? Notre Dame's championship runner-up last season and don't even get to play for another championship. Look, a little bit of BS right there, but, you know.
CC, thanks for the call, brother.
Yeah, and look, it's a cold world. You know, now Notre Dame, they do have a nickel in this dime. All right. If they played in a conference, then they would have a conference championship that they could play in, and that will weigh a little bit more. So
that's on them. That's